All right, excellent. Okay, as I was saying, I am host for this evening, one of your hosts, your co-host this evening. I'm Lumumba Uncaged. We are having another person joining us in the meeting.
Olson. I am from Elaine, Arkansas, working with descendants of the Elaine massacre of 1919. And thanks to Julia Wright, who is a very strong supporter of us. And the reason our young people are in New York City in order to participate in the rally tomorrow, we're very thankful for Julia. I've just come off of the other Zoom that's going on and was absolutely amazed. This is the first time I have heard the judge speak. I have worked in Tutwiler. I know the nuns. It's incredible to me that she would not completely understand. She grew up just as the people who you will meet shortly from Elaine, just as they are growing up in the midst of inequities, unfairness. Many will say it's no different from 1919 and today. And she grew up in that same ethos just across the river, and how she doesn't get it is beyond me. So I'm just appalled. On the other hand, I really appreciated Julia's words over there. Will Julia be speaking this hour?
I have not got the confirmation on that. It was a lot of different meetings and forums and everything going on today, this evening. So if it's possible, but I know it's a lot of kind of conflicting schedules that are going on simultaneously. So I can't confirm that exactly, because I know they're, I believe, just closing out from the previous Zoom. Well, was it Zoom? I was watching it on YouTube a little earlier.
Yeah, YouTube.
Right. So I haven't got that confirmation.
Okay.
And yes, I do agree as well. That's the first time I also actually heard from the judge and her perspective. And it was very interesting based on her history and the history of, some of the members of her family. And I believe she was stating her grandfather, that there wasn't a more clear definition of justice and the miscarriage of justice.
Right.
But hopefully, with the outpouring of outreach from, concerned family and friends, and the information that was provided this evening, and just a plethora of evidence information that she, hopefully is receiving currently, and be able to feel that energy and that spirit and be compelled to do the right thing.
Right.
But hopefully, with the outpouring of outreach from, concerned family and friends, and the information that was provided this evening, and just a plethora of evidence information that she, hopefully is receiving currently, and be able to feel that energy and that spirit and be compelled to do the right thing.
Right.
So that is in my my hopes, and my prayers. I just the adverse to that. Oh yes, we do have Mama Julia joining us presently. All right, excellent. Okay.
Julia
greetings.
Julia should meet Jennifer too. Hey, Julia, you were just great. I just heard you on the live stream.
Okay. Wonderful to see you, Mary.
It's good to be here. And there's Jennifer. Jennifer is ever so important. She is documenting the oral stories and finding much new things about what happened here. She has some fascinating things about us, us, your uncle's tavern that was burned down. And sometime when she's ready, she's now gathering all the data, but when she's ready, we'll Zoom with you.
All right,
I
excellent.
imagine other people coming on here might also still be on the other live stream. Jennifer, did you have to get off to come on here?
Yes, it's still going.
Right, right.
I'm wondering if the folks who are in New York, if James and the young people are they with you, Lumumba?
No, they are not with me. I am waiting on an update currently, and my co-host should be joining me shortly with further updates. And let me just see what information I have here. I just got a text in as well. Oh, Sister Jacqueline had a update and report as well. So hopefully she's able to come on board and is able to give us an update with the children as well. But I just wanted to make sure that we kind of did a round robin and just introduce ourselves to one another and to the listening audience as well, because this is being recorded and will be streamed on our social media platforms as well. And we are currently also, as well as Zoom, we're live on Facebook simultaneously. So I spoke briefly with Ms. Olson, and she gave us a little background and history of herself. I want to save you, Mama Julia, for last. If you could introduce yourself, Ms. Hadlock, and just give a briefing of your stance and your position within the movement, and just any updates that you might have for us.
Thank you so much. I didn't realize this was so public.
Oh,
I'm Jennifer Hadlock, she, they pronouns. I usually am in New York City. I live in East Harlem, El Barrio. But right now I am in Helena, in the other room in Mary's house in Arkansas, helping to do research about the land theft after the massacre in Elaine, Arkansas in 1919. And I'm also a board member of the Fund for Reparations Now, and freeing political prisoners is a huge part of what needs to happen for reparations. So feel very strongly about Mumia and all the political prisoners, and I'm very excited for the young people to be there tomorrow at the UN.
yes, excellent. Give thanks, much appreciated. Mama Julia, if you could introduce yourself briefly for the listening audience, and those who will be on the line and those in virtual world, for our live listening audience on Facebook and for our Zoom.
Well, I met Mary and I met James virtually because I would love to meet them, really. But
Amen.
we will, because my great uncle, the uncle of my father, who was Richard Wright, the writer, his uncle was lynched in Elaine. And it is amazing because Mary's, how can I say, Mary's wish to have Silas recognized and memorialized met with my own wish, and that's how we met. And together, we actually got Silas Hoskins recognized by the National Lynching Museum, by Brian Stevenson, and that's how I met the children, because it was the children who collected the soil on the site of the lynching. And when I saw that via Zoom, I was so moved. I raised the funds to enable the children to take the soil to Alabama to hand over the jar directly to Brian Stevenson. That's the story.
Oh, wow. Okay, excellent, excellent. And I'm sure, everyone will get an opportunity to actually meet in person, live in the flesh. So that would be excellent as well. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. As I said before, I know there is a lot of activities going on this evening, and I know folks' times may be constrained. So I appreciate those individuals who were able to break off and join us for this Zoom session. And again, this session will be recorded, and we're also live streaming to our Facebook page as well.
What's your Facebook name?
It is the same, Lumumba Uncaged. And as a matter of fact, I will get the link so I can put it in the chat for the Facebook as well. Give me 1 second. I'll copy that link and put it in the chat here. Okay. And I do see we have my co-host in the building. All right, excellent. And we have another guest joining us, Free Mumia Berlin. So before I bring in our co-host for this evening, if you could just introduce yourself briefly and let us know what organization entity you're representing, any updates or briefings that you might have concerning the freeing of Mumia Jamal and our political prisoners at large. So if you could unmute yourself and just give us a brief introduction. That is Free Mumia Berlin. Are you calling in from Germany? Are you zooming in from Berlin? Okay, I'm going to need you to unmute your mic, if you could, to give us that report.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
Great. Yeah, we came back a short while ago. We had a protest here in Berlin, like, I'd say 100 people approximately. And yeah, we started in the city center. We walked through the city center for an hour, and then we came to the US Embassy, and we had like loads of stuff in German and English on Mumia. We gave out, I'd say, hundreds of flyers to passers-by. Some people even joined and came with us to the US Embassy. I was quite surprised.
Wow.
And yeah, there were loads of speeches, obviously, and it was, although it was just 100 people, I think it was quite loud for that. It was a very loud demonstration. It was very cold here. You have to know it's, yeah, probably like same as in Philly. It's very icy and very cold.
Yes.
And we had hope for a bigger turnout, actually, because the last 2 months we've been on, I'd say, every demonstration and giving out leaflets or holding speeches. And we were hoping for a much larger number to turn out. We were a bit disappointed that it were just 100 people.
Mm.
But they were very loud and they knew why they were there. So that was good.
Yes.
And we had, yeah, we had a couple of speeches on Mumia, on the death penalty, on the prison industrial complex and the mass incarceration, and also resistance by prisoners in the US and in Belgium, Belgium and Germany as well. We used to have a prisoners union here for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, it ceased to exist last year, but for a couple of years, it was loads of things were going on in German prisons with this prisoner union. And then other people were talking on a prisoner called Alfredo Cospito. He is an anarchist from Italy. He's sentenced, I think, to 45 years. And he's been put in on an isolation program, which is called 41 bis in Italy. It was originally introduced to fight the mafia structures there, but lately it's used against political movements to silence them. He's been very active in communicating with the movement and other prisoners. And yeah, he's on a hunger strike for the 6th week by now. It's getting life-threatening. And there are lots of activities going for him in Europe. And there were people talking about him. Then there were other people talking about 3 Turkish anti-fascists who are imprisoned in Germany. We've got loads of Turkish and Kurdish political prisoners actually in this because the German state really supports Erdogan and his dirty war against the Kurdish liberation movement. So there were people talking there. Then other people were talking about the Holy Land 5 who were imprisoned in the US, people who supported Palestinian liberation struggle. You may have heard of them. They're called the Holy Land 5. I think on Prison Radio has been a report on them some time ago. Yeah, and yeah, you can see there was the large community of people who support prisoners basically was there and
Right.
told each other what they are on about at the moment. And yeah, to cut the long story short, we were a bit disappointed that it were just 100 people, but we really liked the atmosphere. There were loads of banners, and we're just working now on an indie media article. We might send the link later in the chat or something when it's published, so you
Okay.
can get an idea how it was. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Right.
basically it, I'd say, huh?
Excellent, excellent. Much appreciated. And just one final question. Was anybody able to capture that rally, through any social medias, so that can be shared, at a later date, so on and so forth, to garner further support?
Yeah, we do lots of social media. We do Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
No video recording.
Okay.
We had no video recordings of the demo, but loads of photos been taken.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's what I was looking to see if
And audio recording as well. We've got a free radio here in Berlin, and they were there as well to record.
Okay.
They send Mumia every week anyway. So yeah, there will be a report on this demonstration in 10 days time, I heard. I can send, yeah, I mean, it's in German language, though. It might not be that interesting for English-speaking people, but we also played Mumia himself. He himself suggested that he might do a short speech or greeting note or something. He suggested that a couple of weeks ago on to Noelle Hanrahan, and she wrote us about it. But it didn't work out somehow. He was so busy for loads of things at the moment that he couldn't do it. So we played his audios from the latest 3 audios he did on Prison Radio. We played in front of the embassy. And yeah, the lights in the embassy actually switched on. When we came there, it was dark.
Oh, wow.
Later, I just saw it on the photos that like 2 floors of the US embassy are completely lit and that there are people at the window. Although it was like after office hours when we approached the building. Yeah, they definitely noticed it. And the police was very aggressive towards the end. They wanted us to turn down the sound system and everything. We had a very loud PA. It was really loud on the square. They made us, they threatened us with taking the system down if we don't turn it less volume, because we would annoy the embassy so much. So I think that was good as well.
Right. All right. Getting into good trouble. So much appreciated. That was a report from our friends over in Berlin, who has had a rally, 100+ people there, showing universal support globally for our brother Mumia. All right, and I see that we now have the Elaine Legacy Center in the building. I believe I saw Brother Gabriel, Sister Jacqueline there. So if we could, I want to get into a report. And if we could have you unmute yourself and just give us an update and report. I'm not sure who's going to be the point person on that. But we do have the Elaine Legacy Center here in our Zoom in the building. If you could unmute yourself.
Where'd James go? They asked him.
Sister Vera, are you in that in the center as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because I just want to try to get a report from over where you all were at from your camp. And I'm not sure who's the contact or the point person there. I just wanted to give an opportunity to allow the young adults to have an opportunity to have the floor and report on the works that they've been doing and the letters in support of Mumia and the freeing of all political prisoners. Do you have any word on that, Sister Vera?
Yes, I'm helping with the kids from the ELC in Elaine, and I think last week they wrote letters, and they really is excited to be a part of this. And I'm gonna put it how I feel about the situation. If I feel that he should be freed, if they don't have the evidence, they need to let him go.
That's right.
And that's the way I feel about it. And this whole trip been an adventure for me. First time ever to New York. It's been an adventure, and it's been fun, but it's really been a adventure, and I'm glad to be a part of this because it's a learning experience for me also.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Excellent. Much appreciated. And so we definitely want to be able to learn from and teach one another as we continue in this struggle for liberation and freedom and justice for all. I was just on the call earlier on the YouTube, I should say, and just heard, moving testimonies, from representatives of Leonard Peltier and, from the International Concerned Family and Friends of Jamal. And of course, echoing the call, freedom all. And so this is a follow-up meeting. We just want to show solidarity, show support, and making sure that we're continuing that same vein, that same energy, and that same spirit to make sure that we're getting the information out and gaining all the support and momentum that we possibly can to make sure that Mumia Jamal and all political prisoners are free.
Right.
Vera, is there any way that you and the kids can sing what you'll be singing tomorrow? Because some of these people will be there and they could join in and make it for everybody. It's a song that ought to catch around the world.
Yeah, if they allow us to do it, we can do it real quick.
Oh, yes, that's no problem.
And
Oh, yes, of course.
we can do it real quick. And I have one verse of a song that I think will be real, just one verse of it will be very fulfilling for the event on tomorrow.
All right. Excellent.
So y'all, come on, kids. Do it.
This little light of mine, oh, no, let it show. This little
light. Valor. Come on, y'all, stand up. Can y'all hold it so y'all can see everybody?
Right.
Now, can you put this where they can see us? Everybody, could you put the thing around? It just.
I just want to say, salute to all of you. So fervor and that spirit of freedom fighting, much appreciated. When we get to see, our young folks, you know, coming into their own and showing that fighting spirit and that every spirit for justice and freedom for all. It is very motivating and inspiring. So much salutes and hats off to you all.
1, 2, 3, go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, you know I'm gonna let it. This little light of mine, you know I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of Mumia, he's gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of Mumia, he's gonna let it shine. This little light of Mumia, he's gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In prison, out of prison, he's gonna let it shine. Oh, in prison, out of prison, he's gonna let it shine. In prison, out of prison, he's gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We gonna be up now.
Oh,
All right, excellent, excellent. Free
yes.
Mumia.
Free Mumia.
Yes, yes.
Wow. Wonderful.
Yes.
Wow.
And then I
Wonderful.
have one verse of this song. It don't take but about 1 minute.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
And this what I have to offer for the thing tomorrow. Precious Lord, take Mumia's hand, lead him on, and let him stand. Lord, he is tired. Lord, he is weak. And Lord, he is worn through the storm, through the night. Lead him on to the light. Take his hand. Precious Lord, and lead him home.
Mm.
Right
Wow.
on, right
That's
on.
good.
Bravo.
That's good.
Beautiful.
Free
That's
Mumia
good.
Free Mumia.
Yeah.
now, and all political.
All political. I say.
All of them.
Ooh. Yes, yes, Sister Vera. That was powerful. That was powerful.
Wow.
All right. If we could, can we have a brief introduction of the children? And you know, if we could get just a briefing of some of the motivation or inspiration, what led you know, any individual to reaching out and to reaching this point where they felt as though you know, they were inspired and encouraged to write these letters of support.
Why you write the letter that y'all want for support?
So yes, if you could just briefly introduce yourself, let us know where you're from, what your age is, what your name is, what was your motivation, inspiration, how did you come in to knowing and learning about Mumia?
My name is Pat Max. I'm 2 years old.
Yes.
When I think about Mumia, I think they need to let him out for something that he didn't do.
Yes. And can I ask, how did you first learn about Mumia?
From Julia Wright,
Oh, wow. Excellent.
Miss Julia Wright.
Yes, yes. Mama Julia, right. Excellent. Thank you so much. And what encouraged you to take on the form of writing support letters in order to get into the struggle for liberation for Brother Mumia?
My papa.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Much appreciated. So it seems like you've gotten some great information from our elders, you know, from your pop, from Mama Julia. And, you know, we're just greatly appreciative that you all are taking on this information and being able to internalize it and feed from the information and also feed back into the movement and helping to inspire and motivate us even greater for the struggle for freedom and liberation for Baba Mumia, as well as all political prisoners at large. So if you could just pass the mic on to your next group member there.
Hello, my name is Octavian Ote. I'm 18.
Yes, sir. And how did you find out the information on our brother Mumia?
Miss Julia Wright.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And was this a group collaborative effort in writing the letters of support, or did each individual, you know, have that thought process and everyone came together? How did that come together?
It was a group effort and support.
Okay, okay, excellent, excellent. And, you know, being involved in this type of movement as you have currently, how does it make you feel?
I'm Mumia.
So have you been able to learn or grasp anything greater from your involvement thus far?
Yes, I learned about Mumia. I heard his story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, excellent, excellent. I definitely greatly appreciate you. Appreciate your effort, your time, and energy, good brother. Keep up the good work. Excellent. If you could pass on the mic to your next peer.
My name is Alonzo Johnson.
Yes, sir. How old are you? How old are you, Mr. Johnson?
I'm 16.
All right. Yes, yes, sir. Give thanks. Give thanks. And how did you also find out this information about Mumia, our good brother Baba Mumia?
Well, I used to read about him in school and
Okay.
Miss Julia Wright.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this was this like a class project, or did you all as individuals?
They asked us about somebody you can do history on, and I did Mumia because we always worked on him in the community that we in.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, much appreciated. Give thanks, good brother. All right, and if you could pass the mic on to your next. Dude.
Okay.
All right. How's everything?
It's good. It's good.
All right. What's your name, good brother?
James White.
James White. All right. Give thanks, Mr. White. And how old are you?
I'm 60. I just turned 60 years old.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And may I ask, and how did you find out this information about our good brother Baba Mumia?
Through Miss Julia Wright.
Okay. Yes.
We got the Elaine Legacy Center, and we do a lot of stuff on Richard Wright, and we got in contact with Miss Julia, and we've been working with her ever since. And she always, really, Miss Julia changed me, because a lot of the stuff that I thought I knew, I really didn't know. So when I talked to Miss Julia, it gave me another insight, because I really had been, I guess I was just blind to the cause. I saw it, but I really didn't see and she put it in perspective for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if I can ask, if you could just give a little bit further background on the Elaine Legacy Center, and you know, if you could just touch base on the events surrounding the 1919 massacre there.
Well, it's kind of like with what's going on with Mumia. We got a lot of injustice. A lot of stuff happened in 1919. Land laws, people was killed, people was murdered, and no one ever stood trial for that. The federal troops came in and killed people, and everybody they never really investigated. And that's what we do there. Research.
Yes, sir.
With Paul Ortiz down in Florida, University of Florida, and he comes down and with his students, and we take oral stories. And it's a lot of things go on with our political leaders. If somebody ain't trying to kill them, they trying to lock them up for nothing all the time. And a lot of people can't do this work because it's so hard, it's so heartbreaking. And you got to be a strong person to do it. Anybody just can't do this. Because there's been days I wanted to just give up because you into injustice and it's something that you can't even do anything about. You know it's going on, but everybody said, no. It's like here, back in Arkansas, they want to say sharecroppers. Yeah, it was sharecroppers, but they want to say Black people didn't own anything. They didn't own land. They didn't own nothing, but they did, you know? So it's like, if you political, either they trying to lock you up or they trying to kill you. And I don't think that's right. And that's why I fight for all the people with injustice. And when Miss Julia told me about Mumia, I was on. And we came all the way from Arkansas, me and the kids. We went to Birmingham to put in the EJI building. Brian Stevenson met with the kids and talked with them. And we put a jar her uncle's house's soil in the EJI building. And that was something that I thought was great for the kids. That's something they need to hear because it's like our kids don't know. Even we are grown. It's a lot of stuff I don't even know because they just took it from us. They didn't teach us about it.
Yes, sir.
So I try to do everything I can to put in these kids and let them know that it's a lot of great Black people out there. There's a lot of people that fought for us to be where we at today. And a lot of people take it ungranted. That's why I tell my kids, all my kids, the kids that I work with, you gotta vote because it do make a difference.
Yes,
and
sir.
a lot of times that's what they don't want you to do. They don't want you to vote. They don't want you to do this. They don't want you to do that. So yeah, we trying to teach our youth.
Yes, sir. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. And, you know, we appreciate your time, energy, and effort, good brother. Appreciate all your good work over there at the Elaine Legacy Center and for helping to structure, you know, the efforts of the children and to make sure that they have a place and can have a better understanding of and perspective as it comes to justice and injustice and our fight for freedom and liberation, as we have for centuries in this country, facing different levels of injustice and prejudice. So thank you once again, good brother. And, you know, just very important, you were stating before, being able to do the research and be able to take a record of those things and be able to document these things and archive these things so that this history is not lost and that we can continue to learn from it and so that we can continue to grow and develop as we push forward in this fight for liberation and justice. So give thanks, much appreciated once again.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for having us. And we got a museum. We're going to put all our Black history in this museum. And we want y'all New Yorkers to come down there and see our museum.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so, you know, that's partly what it's about as well, for us to be able to come together, for us to be able to collaborate and unite and support one another in our efforts, so that we're all that the much stronger, you know, as opposed to, you know, being splintered in our different sects. If we come together, our impact will be much, much stronger. You know, from the local level to the national level to the international level. Okay, we just had a call in from Berlin. So this is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. Much appreciated. This is a powerful movement. Let's keep it going. With that being said, I just want to open up the lines now. Let's see, to our listening audience, those who might want to chat on Facebook. We're now live. If individuals want to share that link, it's in the chat. And also for those who are in the Zoom room now, if you have any questions or comments, you can unmute yourself and you have the floor.
I just want to say that James works with the kids all the time. It's a much larger group, and not one of them does not know somebody who is in prison that they feel should not be there. I think it's important for the world to know that.
Yes.
This isn't just the big cases.
Yes.
This is down home people, friends, and it hurts.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so one of the reasons why we focus in on cases like that of Mumia Jamal, that of Leonard Peltier, and so many others is that it provides a outlook and a perspective of the macrocosm as it pertains to the microcosm. So all of those things that these, quote unquote, high profile political prisoners are facing and experiencing, that is what's going on, throughout the spectrum dealing with the prison industrialization complex. And so the fight for Mumia, the fight for Brother Leonard Peltier is a fight for justice for all those who are unjustly incarcerated and face discrimination and acts of police terrorism within their communities all across the nation and all across the world. So these stances that we take is not just for these individual political prisoners, but it is a blow against the injustice system globally. So
absolutely, absolutely.
With that being said, I want to open up the mic once again. If there's any questions or comments, if you have any questions or comments or words of encouragement for our friends over at the Elaine Legacy Center for our youth or our brother, Mr. Johnson. I'll open up the floor now. You can unmute yourself.
I just want to tell the children, I love you to bits.
I say.
I just wanted to say that my name's Anita Rosenblythe, and I was lucky enough to meet the children yesterday, and I'm looking and also Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I was looking forward to the singing, and I loved it. We've got to have that singing. And Mrs. Smith in particular, I mean, oh my gosh, she's incredible. And the kids have been just really, really nice and helpful. And I was amazed. I just saw a bit of the work that was done in the studio on the puppet. And Mr. Smith is like a master at that. He was making a big platform and a so that Mumia could stand tall, the statue, and just the commitment to that project. It was so helpful too. I mean, it's thanks to them really largely, with Jacqueline, of course, that it's going to be great. It's coming along wonderfully. And so it's been wonderful to get to know them just for that one day, really. And I definitely will be there tomorrow for the activities at the Church of the United Nations there. And should be wonderful.
Yes, give thanks. Excellent, much appreciated. All right. So again,
peace, blessings.
Oh, yes.
Sister Munera calling in from Newark, New Jersey.
All right, peace.
I just want to say peace and love to everyone. give thanks for, the listening audience, to stand here in solidarity for the rallying call, to continue the rallying call, to bring Mumia Abu Jamal home and all our political prisoners. As a formerly incarcerated female who have been, fighting this fight, in regards to prison rights, I'm just elated that the fact that we have our Queen Elder who is reaching back, educating and teaching our babies who back in the day, Mumia and all our freedom fighters from the Black Liberation Army and the Black Panther Party, original Black Panther Party, they were young, they were youth.
That's right.
Who carried this on. So it's just great to see, and all of us we should be teaching our babies, how to carry this on. As in the words of our brother, Daruba bin Wahad, he was saying, pass it on, pass it on. And Asada and all our freedom fighters said that the youth, have to continue to pass this on. So I just want to thank our Queen Elder. Also, as always, my President General and the members of and the brothers in support of the Million Women's Now World Movement, We Charge Genocide campaign, Free Political Prisoner campaign. We got so many different campaigns fighting for justice, but thank you for this platform and, to teach our babies, because they are the future. And if we don't have our young generation on the front line or moving towards the front line for the freedom and liberation of our people, then we in trouble, so
That's right.
thank you, our youth, pass it on, continue to stand up. We don't have nothing to lose but our change. So in the words of Ida B. Wells, she said, I'd rather die standing and fighting for my right to die like a rat in the trap. And we don't have nothing to lose. So stay encouraged, our young soldiers and soldiettes, and reach back and help, our younger generation, because a lot of them are lost. Years ago, I held a youth rally right around the time in the spirit of Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who held the youth rally that was very powerful, very, very powerful. And they was shaken because young warriors, freedom fighters was taking a rightful place to be able to carry this struggle on and reach back and teach. So it was powerful, that event that I had, that session I had here, and the rally I had in commemoration of the youth march, that brother Dr. Khalid Muhammad, he rest in power, who was also instrumental in, uplifting and empowering our youth.
I say.
So thank you all. Keep on doing your research about our freedom fighters, and also, find out what age they are. And some of them started at the early age as some of the young youth on here today.
That's right.
So stay encouraged, continue and pass it on and reach back and teach one. Thank you.
I say. Oh.
I just want to.
I think we have a oh yes, from Elaine Legacy Center, we have a word.
Yes, we just want to say thank you, Miss Julia. We love you.
Oh, thank you. I want to say that I want to come and see you. And I am going to make that happen. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I also want to say that what the Elaine Legacy Center did was beautiful. Because when I or my family couldn't travel for the collection of the soil, the adults could have decided to collect the soil themselves, but no, they delegated it to the children. And there is very moving footage of the children doing it. And I want Mary to say what she told the children while they were collecting the soil of my lynched great uncle. Mary.
Thank you. He was lynched in Elaine. And Richard Wright was about 9. So it is very close to, it was very close to people there because they identify with what happens today in different kinds of lynching. And I said to them, as they were putting their hands in the soil and putting it into the jar, your hands will forever be in that soil that is at the lynching center. Now, it is Julia who really talked Brian Stevenson into taking times to meet with our young people. Many more were there. So we appreciate all the support. And our young people are understanding. They're ready to make a difference.
Yes. Great. Encouraging, inspiring, to say the least. So you definitely want to make sure that we continue to encourage and uplift our youth as they begin to enter into this journey of freedom and liberation. And just to let them know that we're here for them, we're loving them, we're supporting them, and continue to feed them, the information, the knowledge, the energy, and that fighting spirit, so they can take on the legacy and take on the mantle as we move into unrevocable and irreversible freedom and liberation across the globe. With that being said, I want to open the floor once again, like we have some additional members that are joining in and joining us on this Zoom. Again, I want to encourage folks to share this also with Facebook. The link is in the chat at the top of the chat. So feel free to be encouraged to share that as well. Now, with that being said, I want to open up the floor once again for any questions or comments that we may have for Sister Julia, for Sister Hadlock, Sister Olsen, for Sister Vera. Please feel free. The floor is open if you have any questions or comments or words of encouragement. Okay. And it looks like we might have lost. Family, we may have lost Elaine Legacy Center, Ms. Vera. Hopefully they'll be able to log back on shortly. Sometimes there is, depending on what area that you're calling in from or logging in from, there could be connectivity issues as far as the internet is concerned. So hopefully they'll be able to come back in briefly and rejoin us here on the Zoom. With that being, yes.
To thank everybody for being so generous and donating, because
Amen, amen.
oh, there are so many causes, and it was just beautiful. The spirit of just giving so that the trip was possible.
Oh, yes. Yes. That was a blessing. That was a blessing. Very, very inspiring, very encouraging. You know, so we do have some, you know, positive spirits and energies that are with us, because some of the reports that I was getting, you know, there was an influx towards the end that allowed for the trip to happen. And it was a little touch and go for a second there. So, you know, definitely want to just be encouraged within that, you know, as we push forward and do our part and put our energy, time, and effort forward, ways are being made. Okay. And, you know, through the ancestor, through the Almighty Creator, you know, we have been being rewarded for our hard work, our dedication, our discipline, our determination. All right. So I just want to, you know, just to encourage everyone to stay encouraged and stay motivated, because, you know, we are making headway. And as we push forward, we can see the soil that's being broken as we till and seed the land for the new to bear, to be born. All right. So we have a few other members that are joining in with us today. Give thanks. They're joining in on the Zoom here. So we do have Sister Gwen on the line with us, and we have Brother Shep here on the line with us. So if you could just introduce yourself, Sister Gwen, and just let us know any updates that you may have.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, well, we will be at the UN tomorrow.
Yes.
With Sister Empress Che and Jackie, Wade, and hopefully you know, a nice crowd out there to support our just demands for reparations and for all of our political prisoners to be freed, because they've all done a significant amount of time, you know, more than the average person who has killed someone. And many of them are innocent. That's what, you know, it's like, what the hell? Come on. But, you know, the system, our oppressor doesn't care about that. I mean, they would love for them to be guilty, you know, but they don't, you know, they don't have a soul. Many of these people, they don't have a soul, and we do. And I guess that makes us a threat. Not, I guess, it does make us a threat.
Indeed.
But yeah, so I'm with the campaign to bring Mumia home. Also mobilization for Mumia and Love Not Fear. And yeah, so I'm definitely willing to do what I can to spread the word about U.S. political prisoners, because we have them. The United States claims that they don't have any, but that is not the truth. The truth is we do have political prisoners. And I'm glad to hear that Brittany Grimes was set free, because she didn't need to be there that long. So I welcome her home as well, because she was a political prisoner. She was, you know, a political football. So we have to work to get our political prisoners home. And I'm praying that Joe Biden will get enough guts to do the same for Leonard Peltier, because he's 78 years old, has did quite a number of years in prison, over 45 years, and is no threat to anyone. So it's time for Joe Biden to grant clemency for Leonard Peltier, and it's time for the Philadelphia justice system to do right by Mumia, and it's time for all of our political prisoners to come home. You know, enough is enough. They've done their time already, more than most.
Ashe. Free them all. All right, give thanks.
Right on.
And if you could put any of that information within the chat, so that information can be shared as well. Much appreciated.
Yeah, one more thing I will say is we have a bus leaving from New York City to go to Philadelphia for Mumia's next court hearing on Friday, December 16th. We still have plenty of seats left for it. Anyone who wants to go that can't afford the ticket, we have scholarships available for those leaving from New York City. You have to be on time. You have to call 212-330-8029 or just go, well, if you're going to purchase a ticket, you go to bringmumia.com, and Mumia is spelled Mumia, Mumia. Bringmumiahome.com to purchase a bus ticket. But if you don't have the funds, call the hotline, the Free Mumia Coalition hotline, which is 212-330-8029. And I'll put that in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, give thanks. I was going to ask. All right. I did put the website, Bring Me a Home, in the chat. I didn't get an opportunity to put the call-in number. So give thanks if you could put that in there, and any other website or tie-in information that you can within that. Much appreciated. Give thanks. And with that being said, I just wanted to touch base really quickly on that subject matter of political prisoners. I just want us to be careful of the angling of the media and the redirecting. Although I do agree that our sister Brittany Garner deserves to come home and was used as a political pawn. I believe there is a need to make a distinction with some of our political prisoners as it pertains to freedom fighters, because it may get a refacing and a remixing of what it is that is considered to be a political prisoner, and some of the focus might be taken off of some of these very important and crucial cases. Not to say that there's any less need for justice for Brittany Griner, but I think we just need to be careful of the attention and the redirecting of energies that may come along with some of these reframing in the media. So if there's any thoughts or opinions on that, please feel free.
I think that's a good point, but I also think that the distinction between political prisoners and prisoners who are in prison because of unjust systems, especially in regard to the number of Black people we put in prison compared to other people, I think we got to watch that too. Any barriers to reforming the system is not helpful. Political prisoners should be released, but so should a whole lot others who were just unjustly put there.
I say. And I would even argue the point that a lot of those individuals are also political prisoners, just surely based on their cultural lineage and ethnicity and the position that the United States takes against that.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, Munera, to me, I think she's more like a prisoner of war, because there was like a war between the government and Russia. Far as the political prisoner, it's based on a person's stance against this government. Which some things she were like she was like real you know, expressing her feelings about, you know, a lot of Breonna Taylor and, you know, like taking a knee and all that type of stuff, like what is this, Colin Kaepernick?
Yes.
So as far as like, you know, being anti injustice, she did take a lot of stance on, you know, things that were unjust in this country, in the US KKK, you know, but I think freedom fighters and political prisoners is sort of like different because they was just didn't agree with this government in no shape, form, or fashion, you know, in any way. So it is a difference, but I wouldn't put it in a category with Mumia and all of our other freedom fighters that are, you know, held behind enemy lines. But she was there because, you know, it was political, but it was based on the war that was going on in Russia. So they used her as an example, you know. But I'm definitely, you know, my heart is overjoyed with her being returned home in the US, because come on, 10 years for what is it, 0.7 vapor? Come on, it's just bad. Whoever, I mean, that's their laws over there, but though that was just harsh. I mean, harsh, you know. And hopefully that'll be a learning lesson for her because, you know, laws in other people countries is definitely different. But, you know, give thanks that she home, but we definitely should be, you know, fighting hard to bring our political prisoners home, our real freedom fighters who put their lives on the line for us, you know.
I say. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out there just to make a slight distinction, because, you know, a lot of people are victims of injustices because of being political cannon fodder. But there is a distinction between those who are actively fighting against this system and are targeted because of that, tying into COINTELPRO and these other agendas that are put forth by the United States government, specifically targeting individuals within these groups and organizations, right? And so I just want to just point out another factor, because I a lot of times I don't hear these individuals who are caught up as political cannon fodder on you know, these different campaigns as it pertains to freedom and justice for our political prisoners and those who are fighting injustices. A lot of the time they don't become involved into the movement until they themselves are faced with these atrocities directly. Okay, so I just wanted to make a distinction of that. And I point out, and I want to yield the floor after this, but I point out the campaign to free Meek Mill, right? And so there was a huge campaign to free Meek Mill, the rapper. There was, you know, signs that were going on bus stations and so on and so forth. People were, you know, putting on t-shirts and screaming in the streets. And the whole time, you know, I'm thinking free Meek Mill, but what happened to Mumia, right? And so I think it's important that we make these distinctions because sometimes there is a redirection of energies and their distractions put in place to kind of usurp some of our movements and energy and redirect them in other areas. So I just wanted to point that out there, put that out there. And as we move down the line, I know we had Miss Anita that was had a question or a comment. Then I want to go to Brother Shep, and then I want to go to Mama Julia.
Well, I was just going to say that I was influenced a lot today when I heard Democracy Now! And I heard Dave Zarin talking. He writes for The Nation on sports. And he was talking about the difference between her case and how it was treated versus if it had been a man. And you know, in the sports person, and really not that much attention was paid to her, I don't think. I mean, she's queer, she's a Black woman. She's already, I mean, by being openly gay, I think she's taking a step against the system. And she was certainly, you know, she was at great risk if they let her stay in there. And I don't think that there was that much, there was not the amount of effort that went into freeing her had she been a male athlete, a famous male athlete. And of course, the fact that she's Black and a woman and queer, all of that, you know, and I was just thinking, I think at one point, Mumia made a statement. I remember seeing it. I didn't think that much about it, but you know, that he thinks everybody in prison is a political prisoner. You know, if you think of it like, you know, you're targeted because of race and class, and especially race. Black and brown people are in there, and just the whole thing about lately in Pennsylvania, they're targeting, what they're doing is they're eliminating the category of Latinx or Latino. And now a lot of them are categorized as white. And I mean, that's outrageous. That's just, it's taking away your identity, and they want to give the idea that everybody's treated equally, regardless of class or color. And I know Brian Arroyo is writing about that a lot. And he's like a voice from the inside. And Mumia has praised him really highly for his environmentalist work and everything. But he's writing now about how he feels like his identity has been disappeared or something, that he does not identify as white, and they forced him to be white. So yeah, that's my two.
All right, thanks. Give
thanks. So greetings, everybody. I want to jump in on this one, if I may.
I just wanted to give opportunity. No, go ahead. But I just want to let you know, Brother Shep is in queue, and then Mama Julie.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it short, and then we're gonna go to Brother Shep, because I know he has a report from us, or for us, from the session that he was just in on political prisoners. But I just want to say this, just at the sidebar, so that we're clear, the We Charge Genocide 21 is very specific. It's specific because it focuses on the 400 plus years of crimes against humanity of African people. And so while of course we support and we engage in other things and other campaigns, and we interact, but the We Charge Genocide 21 is very specific. It is connected to the crimes against humanity of our people. You see, when Paul Robeson and William Patterson and others brought forward the We Charge Genocide, it was specific, dealing with, at that time, the lynchings, the murders, the incarceration, etc., of our people, of Black people. And so there's hundreds of different campaigns and programs that focuses on injustice, social injustices, all across the country and of course throughout the world. But there's very few that is very specific when it comes to what has happened to African people in this country. And so we make it clear and make people very sure about what our position is. Again, we support many other campaigns, many other initiatives, but our primary focus is people of African descent. That is what our mission is, given to us by our ancestors. And we stay very focused with that. Lastly, and then we're going to go to Brother Shep. When we talk about political prisoners, meaning the We Charge Genocide 21, we are being, again, very specific. This is why tomorrow we're focusing on COINTELPRO, because all of our political prisoners were, in fact, victims of, if not COINTELPRO directly, some form of government terrorism. And so we have to be very clear that it's all injustice when it happens to other people and so forth. But our position is to highlight and to make it clear to the world that there are African people, Black people in America, from a historical perspective to present day, that is continuously victimized, horrific types of acts upon them. And it has to be looked at in that context. It has to be looked at from a generational context, because our campaign requires us to do that when we are ready to go to the United Nations and say, we are charging genocide and we want a redress of this type. And right now we're saying we want to see a sign of goodwill. The sign of goodwill is free all of our political prisoners. And when we say all of our political prisoners, we're talking about those who stood up, spoke out, and were targeted for speaking against this government and other entities related to this government. So I just want to make sure that people understand that, again, we support all types of campaigns, but I cannot allow anyone to try to kind of mix some stuff in with us. That's not going to happen. Back to you, Brother Lumumba.
All right. Give thanks. And so we have Brother Shep up next. If you can introduce yourself briefly, good brother, and let us know, a little bit of background and history of yourself, where you're calling in from, and then any updates or reports that you might have. Give thanks. Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Yeah, as the sister Che just mentioned, I'm just coming from another 2.5 hour webinar, so I'm a little zoomed out right this second. And I actually wasn't gonna really say too much, but I think it's important that we look at definitions. And I'm Brother Shep. I'm calling in from the Bronx, New York. I'm a veteran of the original Black Panther Party from the early 70s, operating right here in New York. And yeah, definitions are really important, particularly when we're talking about our captive freedom fighters. I was blessed to have Professor John Henry Clark as one of my teachers when I was in Hunter. And one of the things he said, that we as a people were en masse actually political prisoners of war. From the capture, coming over here. That whole concept of slavery and being a slave, we're prisoners of war. Our ancestors were prisoners of war.
That's right.
As we move along, in terms of definitions, political prisoner, which actually I heard a couple of people already, pretty much cover that, but basically is someone who has been captured for their political beliefs and or actions that are contrary to the policies of the United States government. That's a political prisoner. Most of the time they were framed and set up, but that's a pretty clear definition. A prisoner of war is someone who actually took up arms against the United States government. We have a right as a nation, even though we are a colonized nation, to defend ourselves and when necessary, to take up arms against our enemies. That's international law. That gives us that right to do. So you had formations like the Black Liberation Army and the FALN, for the Puerto Rican independence movement. So we have that right to take up arms and kill our enemies. And some of our freedom fighters were captured for doing exactly that. This government, yes, they don't recognize us. They say that we're cop killers, bank robbers, and all kinds of other bullshit. But we target things on the political aspects. If a bank money was expropriated from a Brinks robbery, as they called it, those monies were used to support the liberation struggle. A lot of times those monies went to Southern Africa, to our brothers and sisters there to continue the war against apartheid, which was supported by this government. So those banks that did not divest, they were targeted. When our children were being shot down and killed in the streets, we showed that there need to be blood on both sides. looking at all of that, no pig has ever went to prison for killing us. Now, they killed a lot of us. We killed a lot of them, and some of us were captured for it. But again, it was a war. And people need to understand that it was a war. The ceasefire that came was from our part because the people weren't ready for all-out war yet here in the United States. So we stood down, even though we had thousands of troops ready to move all across this country. But the people were not ready. All of our offices and our above ground structures were destroyed by the government. You know, the offices were bombed, our leadership was either killed, exiled, or captured. And so the time was not correct for that. That said, our children were terrorized. You know, the FBI would come kicking in your door, put guns to our children's heads, to our grandmothers' heads. There was a funeral for a foreign comrade. The FBI would come with wanted posters and disturb, you know, those moments when people were in grieving. You know, they did all these things to us. And so that the enemy is clearly defined. So when we say prisoners of war, yes, we were and still are at war. We're just not in combat right now, not fully. But I will say this, when the pigs were getting killed, there was less murder by police in our community because they didn't come around the way. They knew there was going to be a consequence. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Prisoners of consciousness, folks like George Jackson and Malcolm X, who basically became political when they were, after they were captured, while they were in prison. So you basically had those three definitions. You have prisoners of war who took up arms against the government, political prisoners who went up against the government by words, deeds, and actions, and prisoners of consciousness who became politicized when they got in prison. Last but not least, you have social prisoners, which I think is what we're talking about in general. When that definition, I think Anita had mentioned it. For what Mumia has said, yes, the system is racist and everything here is political. So if you rob a grocery store or you hit somebody over their head and get locked up, it's a social crime. But it is some political aspects to it due to the conditions that our people live under in this country. But as far as making that distinction of, let's say, that word gets thrown around to try to dilute our struggle. Those idiots that rolled up on the Capitol a couple of years ago, they're being said, "Oh, we have political prisoners that rolled on the Capitol. They're political prisoners." I remember back in the day, you had free OJ. Recently, we had free Britney Spears. You know, you have all this nonsense going on to cause distractions from the truth. But it's up to us to be in the streets, on the streets, not rely on social media to get the word out. Empress Chair, I'm not going to do a report back from the last webinar. It can be, the recording can be accessed, but what I will say basically was folks from different campaigns that gave summaries on those campaigns of lesser known captive freedom fighters. And again, it was 2.5 hours long, but it was a great program. I mean, it was put together really well. So I encourage everyone to put some time aside and definitely watch the recording of the program that was done by the Mumia movement. They put this together, but it covered Ed Poindexter, Veronza Bowers, Kamal Siddiqui, Leonard Peltier, and some other Imam Jamil Alameen, and of course Mumia. So I'm going to be at the event tomorrow, and I'll do my presentation there and cover a lot more than I'm saying right now. I'm a little tired now, and I got to get ready for tomorrow. But I just want to say this. There was about 70 some odd people at the last webinar. I see we have about 15 people here. We got a lot of work to do, y'all. We can't keep talking to each other. We've got to get into the community, into the streets, create programs that will bring people in, and then we can politicize them to the point that there's no political prisoner locked up today that did not do what everybody else is doing, whether it was housing, education, police brutality, medical care, no matter what the reasons were for them getting locked up, they're locked up for that reason. And so any struggle that we do that goes against this government, they're going to come after you, particularly if it's working. If they don't come after you, then you ain't doing shit. So everybody that's here on this call, you potentially could become a political prisoner. So it's to your advantage that you organize yourselves and get involved in some kind of campaign so that you can be prepared for that and then pass it on to the younger folks. So I'm going to end there. I don't really want to ramble on, but I'll see folks tomorrow, and I have some more concrete things to do. And I represent the Safi Bakari Albert Noah Washington Foundation, and in particular, I'm working with the international campaign to free Kamal Siddiqui, which we put together after we were able to free Russell Maroon Schultz. We kept the core together to do that. All power to the people, free them all.
Power to the people, free them all. Give thanks.
Hey. Thank you, Brother Shep. We're going to get ready to close out. And before we do, I
have Phile. Yes. I have 2 pieces of news to give people. It's good news. The UN, the United Nations, on the 6th of December, filed a friend, an amicus curiae brief in favor of Mumia Abu Jamal.
Oh, wonderful.
It was sent from Geneva, registered post. We know that it is in the hands of the judge as of today. The brief is based on the elephant in the room, systemic racism from one end of the case to the other. So that's the first piece of news. The second piece of news is that, and perhaps tell Jacqueline this, Sister Jacqueline, Mumia has written a letter to the 54 African state members of the United Nations to thank them for their support in 2020 after George Floyd was murdered. I have the written text, and Noel Hanrahan has just emailed me that we have the recording. So if Jacqueline has the technical ability, the puppet tomorrow does not have to be silent.
Wow.
It can say Mumia's words. So we need to get in touch with Jacqueline. I'm very, you know, I love this struggle because whatever happens against us, we make beautiful things happen.
Ah, Shay.
Yes.
Wonderful. That is wonderful news. Oh my goodness. All right.
Hotel family, New World Warrior speaking. Sorry to cut in like that. But I hit the train tonight and went on the subway of the dead and spread the word for the meeting tomorrow at, I said 11 o'clock because you know everybody's late. So I said 11 o'clock at 777 United Nations Plaza Church so that they would hopefully increase our attendance tomorrow. I did what I could because I only had a short period of time, but I did all that I could in the short period of time I had in hopes that we will wake more of the dead up, because in the words of Harriet Tubman, she could have saved many more had she convinced them. But you know, that ain't the easiest job on the planet, so we got job security for quite a long time. Thank you all very much for keeping up the good work. It ain't over. I'll see y'all tomorrow. If anybody needs my help, you have my number, 347-621-9324. I'm technologically challenged. Dial my number. Strangest thing will happen. I'll answer my damn phone. Much love, family. Hotep, I got to run to the store and pick up a couple of things, but I'm here with you every step of the doggone way. Bet that. Love you more than life itself. One God, one aim, one destiny. Hotep.
I say, Hotep. All right, give thanks, good brother. All right. Okay, with that being said, we're getting ready to close out, family. If we have any last questions or comments, please feel free. Thank you once again for joining us this evening. Any questions or comments, please feel free.
Brother Lumumba, I just want to remind everyone that once we leave the United Nations area, we're going to go over to the church to be able to just sit and talk and have a few refreshments. I don't know, do you have that address with you?
Give me 1 second.
Manhattan Family Church.
777.
No. When we leave from there, we're going to another location.
All right.
Where we'll be able to sit, because we're not going to be able to sit at that location.
I had that for you in a minute.
Okay, if not, I can pull it up. But it's called the Manhattan Family Church. I think it's, well, I can find it. And so we should be there like around 2:30. And again, we'll be able to sit down and really, you know, talk and communicate and do what we do. Okay, do you see it?
I'm pulling it up now for my email. Just give me a minute.
Okay. Okay, while we're waiting, is there any final questions or comments from anyone?
Since the Elaine crew is not on right now, somebody should be responsible for being sure they know where that is.
Oh yeah, well they're going to be with us tomorrow. So
yeah, right.
Jacqueline already has it.
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's 4 West 43rd Street.
Okay.
And did you send us a Zoom link? I'm not sure, Phile.
I did. Yep.
Oh,
for tomorrow, 12 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be sending it out again though, because what I'm finding is people have gotten used to reminders.
Oh, oh, thank you. Okay.
Okay, Brother Lumumba, when you're ready to close out, please, by all means.
All right. Give thanks.
Well, thank you, Sister Phile. This was beautiful. Do you realize that Germany met Elaine at this Zoom? I mean, to me, this is marvelous. Isn't it marvelous?
Yes, absolutely.
Amen. Amen.
Yes. Absolutely. Wonderful.
I say, give thanks. And so as we continue in this struggle, in this fight, we want to make sure that we're connecting with one another, making sure we're keeping each other informed and educated, connecting, locally, nationally, and internationally, so that our efforts and our impact is that much stronger. Thank you for all those who are joining us today, those who are in the panel, the presenters today, those guests, and those who will be listening to the future recordings that we'll be uploading on YouTube underneath Lumumba Uncaged as well. We're also live on Facebook. Just want to give our support and our salutes to all of our political prisoners, those freedom and liberation fighters of antiquity and of present day, for the children of Elaine, who are continuing in that same legacy and footsteps of our ancestors for freedom and liberation. for our people and for all people of the masses. Just much thanks, much appreciation. Just want to encourage everyone to continue on, as we continue to make headway, as we've brought home, our good brother Baba Mutulu, that it just came home, as we brought home members of the Move 9. So we want to continue to stay encouraged, right, and steadfast in this movement, because we are making headway, we are making strides, and we will win. Promoted to the together, we will win. With that being said, family, I just want to say thank you once again. I want to say strategize, organize, mobilize. The time is now. It is time to unify. All right, unify or die, freedom or death. There is no other options. With that being said,
the call?
What's the call? Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all. All right. Free Mumia. Free all political prisoners. One love, family.